Hey guys, um, sorry I'm not there today. Miss Victor is. Thank you to Miss Victor. She's wonderful. And the good news, different from most experiences, is that she can help you out today with some of the things you'll be facing. Today we officially start review, and it's a short review. We have 3 of the 42-minute periods, and we have 2 block periods. And in that time, we have to cover both the multiple choice preparation as well as the long answer portion. And I guess what I want to say to you is I'm going to do the same offering to you, that this review sheet can be taken into the exam with you. But it needs to be your work and your design and your copy. And so you'll need to work your way through these things, and as you get help, put it down. Because again, almost question for question, I've provided the same kind of question, but in the open answer arena here instead of multiple choice. And so the good news is that when you get to a problem like this, you can look at your work and then actually follow it. I'm going to just do a quick overview of the ones that I think you'll get to today. There's not a specific, like, here's the cut point to what you should do. Everything on the first page is kind of from the rational expressions unit. And so I would assume that that's kind of our goal for today, is to work through that and understand that. You're welcome to get out in front of me or whatever, but I'm going to just quickly talk about this. So first of all, if you remember, these things were about working with what I'd say kind of like fractions, and that's what they are, rational expressions. And we had problems if you had a denominator that became a 0 value, because you can't divide by 0. And those became values that we created are called the vertical asymptotes. So think about what values would exist there to create a 0, and I guess the clue is to factor it. Over here, we got into this business of simplifying, and what simplifying means is to factor everything out and then basically divide out the things that you can, top and bottom. So here's a difference of squares. That's going to be helpful. I see 25 here and a 5. You have to kind of put everything in terms of multiplication first, and that's why you would factor always first, and then you can begin simplifying. This here is multiplication, but it's just a hyped up version of what I just talked about. You'd factor this, you would factor this. These look fairly factored, and then you begin what we call simplifying, or dividing out common values. Here is an addition statement. And we learned a real cool trick to handle this. The common tendency is to find the same denominator, like make a common denominator. A better trick, if you remember, was to multiply each of the numerators, each of these terms, by a number that the denominator divided into cleanly. So we needed something that 8x squared divides into, that x divides into, and 8x divides into. And what we did is we multiplied that by each term and then divided out, and it created a very nice linear expression instead of this tricky thing. Which graph represents this? The parent graph is 1 over x. And let's see, do I have a way to show you what 1 over x? Yeah, this will work. The basic graph for 1 over x, so as a parent function here, is just simply, and this is kind of roughed in, but kind of is this guy here. And so what they're asking you here is a shift, a bit of a shift. What does this do? Is that up, down, right, left? Is this up, down, right, left? Is there a contraction, expansion? And then you're going to look for which one you think followed that. Again, one of the clues is the asymptote will be where that denominator cannot equal 0. This next one comes off of a final exam that the district used for a long time. and combines kind of a little geometry with a little bit of algebra. So volume of a prism is one base times the height. And so here's what one base is. So if I took this and I multiplied it by whatever the height is, they're telling me I would get this value here. Now this is kind of tricky, but here's what I'm going to tell you to do. If you factor out this, if you do simplifying of this, then you'll find out what things got multiplied to make it. And then you'll know what this thing multiplied by to get that value. Maybe Miss Victor will help us out with that idea. But basically the idea is that this and something else multiplied to get this. And you have to figure out what that is. That is a multiple choice. Oh, no, it's not. Yeah, so you're going to, I thought it was a multiple choice, but it's not. You're going to just have to find out what we multiplied this by to get this value. Now the last one on the page is about the most restrictions. Now some of these have a restriction. So what can't be in the denominator? You can't put a 1 there. That's one restriction. Which of these would have more restrictions? 2 restrictions, 3 restrictions? See if you can figure that out. That's all I'm going to kind of tip you off to. I think that'll get you going today and have good discussion. I would suggest you gathering in groups during the review period so you can help each other. You can keep going past this, which is great. I think more of you are better at arithmetic and geometric sequences and how to find different terms, explicit and recursive. You can always look those things up and kind of work at those. But let's get that first page done. And if you can get a little past that, great. Otherwise, we won't do it as homework assignments. We'll just kind of check as we go. And I will put in your grades on the quiz this weekend. I did modify my grading, and it looks like it's going to work out great for everybody. Of the 18 graphs, I picked your best 12. Of the 8 equations, I picked your best 5. And from what I could tell, things are looking good. Thanks, you guys. Work hard. We'll see you on Monday to get you all ready for your final exam and finishing up this course. Thanks.